We're about to follow the world's greatest migrations and reveal their secrets in a way that's never been done before. All over the world, animals are on the move. On journeys that their lives depend upon. Migrating to find food, to give birth, or to escape danger. To reach their destination, they must travel hundreds of miles through some of the most inhospitable wilderness in the world. Their drive stronger than the obstacles in their path.
That rapid's really picking up. They're just disappearing under the water.
For the first time, groundbreaking science allows our specialist team to follow these migrations more closely than ever before and understand them in unprecedented depth. We can track this Ellie's movement in real time. Using the latest satellite tracking technology, we can monitor individual animals and witness firsthand their struggles for survival.
Got drama down here.
We got him, we got the wolf, we've got the wolf. This time, we're following one of the largest elephant migrations in East Africa, joining them for the most important stage of their journey. That's extraordinary. We'll follow them as they enter the Samburu National Reserve in eastern Kenya, when around 1,000 elephants come together. We'll stay with them and investigate the challenges they face as they search for food, brave, hungry predators.
And the lions are somewhere in between us and them.
And battle to win the right to mate. Below us, around 1,000 elephants are coming together from all over northern Kenya in the most crucial gathering of the year. And we're here to follow them every step of the way. Kenya, East Africa, and Samburu National Reserve. 165 square kilometers of rugged highlands and dry grassland. For the next month, we'll base ourselves here, the arena for one of the greatest elephant gatherings on Earth. Right now, all across northern Kenya, dozens of elephant families are leaving their home territories, traveling huge distances to get here. Triggered by the annual rains and the promise of new vegetation, family groups and lone bulls will walk up to 100 miles to reach this one place in search of food, water, and a mate. It's a brief but important opportunity because in about 21 days' time, the elephants will begin to head back out to their home ranges across northern Kenya. We're basing ourselves at the headquarters of Save the Elephants, a key research organization located in the very heart of the reserve. Using this as our base camp, a team of biologists, camera crews, and local experts will study the elephant's every move. That left ear, it's instantly recognizable. It's so jagged.
Very jagged.
I'll be working closely with elephant expert Saba Douglas Hamilton, analyzing satellite tracking data as it comes into camp. Using this information, the team will head out each morning to track the elephants as they enter the reserve. 50 elephants are currently fitted with satellite tracking collars, and the latest data suggests that the numbers coming to the reserve could now be the highest in 5 years. To help us assess the success of this year's migration, we're going to follow two distinct groups. wildlife cameraman Bob Poole will follow the bulls as they enter the reserve to find a mate. In recent years, these males with their large tusks have been targeted by poachers. This gathering will help reveal much needed information about the health of these individuals and of the East African population. At the same time, wildlife cameraman Max Hug Williams hopes to follow a special group of young elephants, a herd of orphans where every single adult member has been killed by poachers. Inexperienced and leaderless, these young orphans can use this remarkable gathering to try to get an older, wiser herd to accept them in a form of adoption before they begin to disperse back out of the reserve in just 3 weeks' time. Satellite tracking collars will be key to helping us to follow our elephants. I'm joining Save the Elephants as they collar an individual from another orphan herd, an 11-year-old female who lost her mother 2 years ago. The more orphans that are collared, the more we can learn about how these young elephants cope without their mothers. She's been given a sedative by the vet so the team can get in to fit her collar. Back, he's saying to go back, While the elephant is unconscious, my job is to keep her cool and comfortable. While the elephant is down, it's hugely important to keep her airways open with a simple stick, but it does the job. It's pretty extraordinary to feel her breath on my hand. With every collar fitted, the researchers gain a greater understanding of these complex creatures. This collar is going to gather a whole wealth of information, not only where this orphan cow goes, but also giving the team insight into aspects of her behavior, why she chooses to go certain places at certain times of the year, how she behaves under stressful situations, but also giving information on her own individual personality, why she makes certain decisions that other individuals might not. So this is now going to be sending a signal every hour, on the hour, so we can pretty much track this Ellie's movement in real time, see exactly where she's going and why. With the tracking collar secure, it's time to bring the elephant round and get her back on her feet. The vet administers a drug to reverse the effects of the anesthetic. Each collared individual will tell its own tale and help to paint a bigger picture of this year's annual gathering. Over the next few days, the satellite tracking data shows elephant families making their way to the reserve from all over northern Kenya. Amongst those arriving, the incoming data reveals that a herd of young orphaned elephants, well known to the scientists, is already in the reserve. Max, it's Liz. I've got coordinates for you. North, 0.33 degrees. East, 0.47.
So Wilson, I think we need to go left.
Max finds the elephants not far from their last coordinates. He filmed this herd 5 years ago, before the family was decimated by poachers. This is the first time he's seen them since.
it makes the hairs on the back of your neck stand up when you think, last time I was filming these guys, they were in the perfect family, and now they've been reduced to this orphan group.
This herd lost all 7 adult members. Across Africa, ivory poaching is at an all-time high, with 1 elephant killed on average every 15 minutes. It's been described as an elephant holocaust, with over 30,000 elephants killed for their ivory every year. By killing adults with the largest tusks, poachers are depriving herds of their most experienced and important members, disrupting the elephant's close-knit society, and leaving younger, inexperienced elephants to fend for themselves. Now, in this area of northern Kenya, almost 1 in 5 herds are orphan herds. This one is led by a young 13-year-old female called Habiba.
Getting up this close and seeing Habiba looking into her eyes, you have to think what she has been through in her short life and how she's had to grow up so quickly.
Normally, the matriarch is at least twice Habiba's age, but as the oldest remaining member of the herd, her whole family now look to her for guidance. Barely a teenager, she lacks the knowledge and experience needed to keep her family safe. A herd can pay dearly for this lack of knowledge. Just a few years ago, another orphan herd, led by an inexperienced matriarch, made a terrible decision. She decided to cross a river when it was in full flood. A huge error in judgment that put the lives of the young calves in danger. This family was lucky. The calves were washed ashore, but it drives home just how important an older, experienced leader is. Habiba, our orphan leader, is herself a first-time mother to a little calf called Zawadi, who is already proving to be quite a handful.
This little character is going to give us heart attacks, I think, because he's always disappearing off on his own. Even with the short time we've spent with him, you can just see what a character he is.
Zawadi is a plucky little elephant, but he's still only a year old and completely reliant on Habiba. For a first-time mother with no help or guidance, keeping Zawadi safe is a real challenge.
I suppose he's had to grow up fast in a family like this. I mean, his mum is so young, everyone else in the group is so young, so he's probably just been left to his own devices. And I think Habib has really got to keep an eye on him, because it's not a good idea for someone that small to go wandering off on his own.
This year's Great Elephant Gathering is a critical time for these young orphans. One of the best ways to increase their chances of survival is to be accepted by another, more experienced herd. But it won't be easy. It's rare for animals to help, let alone accept other animals if they aren't related. They now have about 14 days before the elephants start to disperse, during which time Max will keep a close eye on their progress. With plenty of family groups already in the reserve, the lone bulls are beginning to arrive. Driven by the urge to mate, these impressive animals may have traveled non-stop, day and night, for up to 100 miles. Once in the reserve, they won't have much time to find a female that's in just the right condition for mating. And they could face tough competition from other visiting bulls. Just 5 years ago, over 30 large tuskers would have visited this reserve. Now, as a result of poaching, there could be as few as 4. Using the satellite data, combined with our observations on the ground, we can get a unique and timely insight into the lives of these magnificent individuals. Right now, the live data shows that one of these few remaining big tuskers is heading straight for the gathering. Rarely seen in the reserve, he's a legendary bull elephant called Matt.
Right on the edge of the reserve, so he's coming in any minute.
And how long have you been familiar with this particular bull?
I think we started collaring him about 10 years ago, and he's just the most fantastic male. Really beautiful ivory. It was very exciting because he's somebody we don't see very often. But I can tell you one thing, he's not one to mess around with because he's not used to people. He's been spending a lot of time up here in the north, about 50 kilometers from here. And now he's just had a major behavior change.
Matt is traveling from his home in the foothills of the Matthews Range and heading south, straight for the gathering. Moving much faster than usual, he covers the last 50 kilometers in just over a week. The latest data shows he's now right on the edge of the reserve.
So if you look here, you can see how fast he's been moving. I mean, it's also amazing. He's just streaking straight down towards Samburu, which I reckon indicates that he's in must.
Must is a state of heightened aggression, during which a bull's desire to find a mate is at its greatest. For a short period, their bodies are flooded with the male sex hormone testosterone. In some cases, as much as 60 times more than when not in must. In this elevated state of arousal, they are primed to do 2 things: mate or fight. It's a time when they're at their most unpredictable and dangerous. Matt's arrival in the reserve means the other bulls now have serious competition. just how easy will it be for him to assert his dominance and find a suitable mate? Using the information from Matt's satellite collar, wildlife cameraman Bob Poole hopes to find out.
Go ahead with the coordinates.
Okay, north.
0 degrees, 34 minutes, 28 seconds. East, 37 degrees.
71 seconds. You got that?
Perfect.
We'll go straight there. That's very exciting. Over.
Look, have fun.
There we are on the river, and he's just there. So let's go find a musk bull. A big musk bull.
Bob grew up in Kenya and has been around elephants his entire life. Even so, this is a rare opportunity to get close to a bull of Matt's stature.
There's an elephant under a tree over there. The big male all by himself. It's gotta be Matt.
After his long journey, this is Matt's last chance to rest before he begins his non-stop search for a mate.
He must have gotten a little hot and decided to take a break under the only tree around. Maybe nice for him to get our scent. So I'll go upwind a little bit so he can smell who we are. And then we'll just take it really nice and slow because we're gonna spend a lot of time with this elephant and we're gonna sort of meet on peaceful terms. Don't mind us. You are spectacular. Wow. Magnificent bull.
It's a good opportunity for Bob to confirm that Matt is indeed in must.
Oh, there's the dribble. Look at that. Okay.
Urine dribbling is a classic sign of a bull's increased sexual arousal and aggression.
Now what's he doing? He's on the move. It appears he's coming. And that's a musk bull for you. He's not quit. Come on, Matt. Dude, we're gonna be buddies, aren't we? Jeez, that gave me I'm shaking. I'm literally shaking. That was it.
Over the next 2 weeks, Bob will need to tread very carefully, using all his knowledge and expertise if he's going to stay close to Matt as he goes about securing a mate. At base camp, the collar data from Habiba and the orphans shows how they fared since the loss of their mothers. Saba, what is your movement data revealing about your orphan herds in Samburu?
If you just look at somebody like Habiba, what you can see is that she's become extremely conservative, restricting her movements to largely within the reserves. You know, where she knows where she feels safe is inside the reserves, and she's just keeping her movements very small and certain.
Habiba is being very cautious, never venturing far. This makes it less likely that she'll encounter another herd willing to help them. But the tracking data does reveal an encouraging sign. With around 10 days to go until the elephants begin to disperse, a large, mature herd is heading towards our orphans. This is just the kind of family they could learn from. As Max waits for this herd to arrive, he joins Habiba and the orphans in the shade.
It's the middle of the day, it's boiling hot, and for young calves, it could be really dangerous. Sunstroke and dehydration could even kill a young baby. So it's vital that she brings them into the shade.
As Habiba's family enjoy some respite from the heat, the more experienced herd heads straight for them, perhaps bringing the leadership the orphans so desperately need. The leader of the other herd approaches them. But instead of sharing the shade with them, the incoming herd forces them out into the hot sun.
Most of the other families are moving into the shade, but Habiba and our little group of orphans have been displaced.
In an attempt to find another place for her family to rest, Habiba has to lead them across the river towards another herd. But here too, they face rejection.
That's just ridiculous, because that bull is actually smaller than Habiba, but yet he's stopped our entire family in their tracks. I mean, this tiny bull is bullying around our little family of orphans, and they're not going to be able to pass until he moves on. And that just goes to show that our young family of orphans are really low in the pecking order. And that's because she's just still so young to be a matriarch.
Habiba and her herd don't have much time to find help. Soon the gathering will start to break up, and the elephants will head back to their home ranges. At the top of elephant society, older bulls in must are constantly on the move, roaming day and night in search of females. Armed with Matt's latest coordinates, Bob heads out early each morning to follow the bull's every move. Today, he finds him with a large group of females. But there are several younger males also trailing the herd. They too are looking for a chance to mate. It's time to deal with the competition.
Here we go.
You take the biggest, strongest terrestrial animal on this planet, and then you give him this infusion of testosterone, and he just becomes this force of nature that just is unparalleled. There's nothing out there that can compare with a musk bull.
None of the males here are a match for Matt. But if he meets a bull of equal size, the result could be very different. Brutal fights like this one are rare, but bulls are prepared to fight to the death for the right to mate. As Matt sees off the young bulls, Bob decides to move on.
Not coming up right behind us. But I think it's time to go. He always gives me a little bit of a fright when he comes at us like that. We can't take our eyes off Matt.
For Matt, these young males were nothing more than an irritating distraction. But as the gathering grows, so does the size of the competition. The team has picked up a signal from the collar of another big bull coming in from the west. He's a 28-year-old bull called Edison, and we head straight out to meet him.
Look at him. I mean, for goodness sake. There is such determination in the way he's walking. It's beautiful to watch. You can just see he's got his mind on one thing at the moment. He's picked up a scent of an estrus female. He's picking up her calls. He's in full must, isn't he? Taking a little sniff this way. He's coming. Oh, he's coming. He's coming. Don't move your thing. Don't move. Don't move. Samba, don't move. That was amazing. I am completely giddy. That was amazing.
Unlike Matt, Edison is familiar with vehicles and takes a more curious than aggressive approach.
I will never forget that for as long as I live. Thrilling.
With Edison in the park, there's now some real competition for Matt, and time is running out for him to find a mate. His coordinates show just how hard he's been looking since he arrived. He's been moving between different herds almost 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, non-stop, without any luck. For Matt to successfully mate, he needs to find a female during the short period she's in estrus, the only time she's able to conceive.
The way that the elephants can know what state of estrus the female is in is through their urine. So she'll urinate for him. Now you see what Matt's doing there with his trunk. He's testing the ground where she was. His nostrils are wide open.
But it's not good news. The levels of hormones in her urine tell Matt that she isn't ready to mate.
Matt's moving on. He didn't really like what he smelled there, I guess. She did her urination, and then she moved off just a few feet to sort of like, is he going to be interested, you know? And, wow, here's another bull coming. Not a big bull, but he's going to come in now. And I bet you she backs away. Yeah, see, there she is. She's like, no, not interested in you, pal. You are a pipsqueak.
An elephant's trunk is not only the longest nose in the animal kingdom, it's also one of the most sensitive, allowing it to detect even the smallest changes in hormone levels in urine. Back at base camp, a visitor is using this incredible sense of smell in a more poignant way. A bull called Jaeger has found a collection of tracking collars, all of which belonged to elephants killed by poachers. He gently manipulates and smells each collar, but there's one in particular that holds his interest. It's hugely emotive to watch this elephant behave in this way. He recognizes who these collars belong to. He is inhaling megabytes of information about who these individuals were, and it's extremely emotional to watch this. We can't, of course, know what he's thinking, but his behavior suggests that he's been affected by what he's found. And it just goes to show how incredibly emotionally intelligent these animals are. They remember, they recognize years after elephants pass away. We know that they grieve the dead, and they often manipulate the skulls and the bones of the dead, but I'd never seen anything like this before. Jaeger finally leaves camp, having spent over half an hour with the old collars. With Matt constantly on the move day and night, Bob has to be given his location each morning. His latest collaring data, already nearly an hour old, points to an area of thick bush just a few miles from camp. In such difficult terrain, Bob needs to use all his tracking skills to work out where Matt has moved to since his last known position.
You can see right here there's been an elephant. I mean, that's very clear. The grass has been trampled down. Matt is a master of hiding in thick bush. I could go walking up all through this stuff looking for him, but it would be kind of silly because by the time I see him, he's so close to me that, you know, if he wanted to, he'd step on me like that. So Matt could be anywhere in here. It's thick bush again. We just have to keep our eyes open. We don't want to come around a bush going too fast and suddenly bump into him. You know, this guy could pummel us seriously. We've just found Matt guarding a female.
The fact that Matt is guarding her suggests that she's an estrus and ready to mate. He now has to ensure that no other bulls get to her first.
And he's pushing other bulls around. Yeah, you see the action happening. Whew, this is fun. Following Matt around for a few days and not having him do anything, and suddenly he's in full swing here. This is really tight quarters for us and Matt together, but the action is on. There's Matt. There he is. Clearly this female is ready or just about to be ready, enough that Matt's willing to guard her. Up till now, we just haven't seen Matt taking such a keen interest in mating. And finally, after all these days, he is. But Matt is not the only one that wants to mate.
The younger males are interested too.
And we definitely need to keep an eye out on Matt. See, these guys retreating right now means Matt's probably pushing this way. Can you see Matt?
As Matt moves one of the young bulls away, Bob gets caught up in the action.
got stuck. I centered myself on the log. We gotta hurry, guys. We're just gonna winch ourselves over this log. Let's just take this stuff here for now. All right, we can go. That was a little intense, you know? Trying to give Matt some space, and then we were stuck. Luckily, Matt went the other way.
Matt may have found a receptive female, but to mate with her, he needs to keep the other males away. A mile downriver, cameraman Max is desperately trying to catch up with Habiba and her young calf Zawadi. As the satellite data shows, she is leading her little family into lion territory.
There's a pride of lions just in this salt brush. You can see just by the bush there. And this is perfect lion habitat. They lie in here waiting to ambush prey, and they're just opportunists waiting for a calf straying away from their mother. Oh, there's another one.
Across Africa, lions have been known to hunt elephants. Like this pride in Botswana, they target young and vulnerable individuals, separating their victims from their family and using strength in numbers to make a kill. Max knows the danger little Zawadi could be in.
Looked like it might be a pride that I know, and there's about 7 of them, so if it's them, they're a serious threat to these calves. And a lion in Samburu is very little game around. They have to be opportunists. If they see a calf stray away from its mother, then it's fair game. They'll be onto it because this pride has got a lot of mouths to feed. Habiba is just 50 meters that way, and the lions are somewhere in between us and them.
Habiba and the orphans are oblivious to the danger.
Wilson, Polly, Wilson, they're here. The lions, they're just in this clearing. Just saw a female slinking behind this tree, and Habiba is literally 50 meters over there, and this lion's now moving that way. I've always known that lions here sometimes take elephants, but to see them so close to this really vulnerable family, I mean, they're a group of babies, and if ever there was a scenario where a lion could grab an easy meal, it's with this lot. Zawadi. He's venturing off on his own, which is a terrible idea. The lions are just between here and him.
A bull chasing a female charges through where the lions were stalking Zawadi.
This is just crazy. This female almost came to us for protection, and he virtually mounted us as well as her.
In a twist of fate, the commotion has flushed the lions out into the open. The orphans move off, blissfully unaware of their close call. With not long to go before the herds begin to leave the reserve, Bob heads out to see how Matt is doing, keeping the female away from the other bulls.
We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 bulls following the female with Matt right behind her.
With so many males still around, Matt can't afford to take his eyes off her for 1 second.
I mean, we've watched the action building every day, and finally, it's really getting serious. Matt not caring about us anymore. He's just surrounded by so many bulls. This is great action.
These younger bulls aren't big enough to challenge Matt directly, but they're crafty. With Matt distracted, one male grabs his chance and chases after the female. Matt could be about to lose everything he's worked so hard for.
Matt took his eye off the ball for a minute, and he almost let one of these other bulls mate that female. But I don't think he was successful because Matt was coming in full bore and managed to push him off. Matt can really move when he has to.
With all these bulls here, it's unlikely the female will stop long enough to allow Matt to mate her. His best chance is still to get her on her own. Satellite collars have revealed incredible insights into elephant behavior. And the more time we spend with them, the more we're learning about the intricacies of their daily lives. I've just received news of something extraordinary happening close to camp. As I arrive on the scene, I can barely believe my eyes. A group of elephants are gorging themselves on weaver bird nests. Nests that at this time of year are certain to be full of eggs and chicks. For an animal that's supposed to feed solely on vegetation, this is astonishing behavior. And it's never been filmed before. It raises a compelling question. Are these elephants deliberately targeting these nests for the eggs and even the young chicks? The elephants have moved on, and it's a fascinating scene because littering the floor under these trees laden with weaver bird nests are eggshells. And just looking at the nest and considering there is so much lush green grass and shrubbery around that the elephants absolutely love at this time of year, you can't help wondering whether it's a nest that these elephants really have a taste for. Shells everywhere, a dead chick here, and another one here. But what's clear is they have pretty much decimated quite a large number of the population of weaver birds here. What the elephants are liking about these nests, whether it is just the foliage, the vegetation, or whether they've acquired a taste for eggs or chicks, or both. Whatever the reason, it's clear there's still much more to learn about an animal we think we know so well. Out in the reserve, Bob continues to track Matt's progress. Finally, he's got the female on her own. She's an 18-year-old called Lepidoptera, in her prime and already a mother to 3 calves. More importantly, she's finally showing interest in Matt, slowing down and stopping him in his tracks. At last, strength, experience and persistence have paid off, and Matt has successfully mated. In 22 months from now, if all goes well, Lepidoptera will give birth to a calf that could carry Matt's legacy well into the future.
Behavior now is just incredible. Look at her. She's so happy about this. Standing next to Matt, and she's constantly reaching out and touching him. He knew what he was doing. All the elephants are so excited about this.
Tracking Matt's every move has allowed Bob to witness just how a dominant bull goes about choosing a mate. using its incredible sense of smell to choose the right female, its remarkable strength to ward off other males, but also demonstrating an ability to be tender and sensitive.
Here's this magnificent bull, you know, one of the last of his kind, you know, of that size in Africa. And you see him passing his genes on, and you just think, wow, that is so cool that I was here for that. When that calf is born, they'll know who the father was. You know, that is so amazing. I'm thrilled right now.
Sadly, with impressive bulls like Matt targeted for their tusks, this might be the last chance he has to pass on his genes. Already, the very latest tracking data shows that the elephants are beginning to disperse, and that this year's gathering will soon come to an end.
The movement data is so clear. I mean, not only can you see the musk bulls dropping out of must, moving away, but the families are also dispersing. Now it's getting a lot drier, there's no more surface water, they have to go out. So you're beginning to see this dispersal now, the land is drying up and the elephants are parting.
With less water around, most of the elephants are spreading out again across northern Kenya in their constant search for food and water.
And of course, when they're away from this protected area, they are facing a whole gamut of threats. We always, you always see them go with a bit of a heavy heart. Certainly an animal like Matt, every time he goes, I wonder whether we're ever going to see him again.
With only 9 days or so left until most of the herds disappear, time is running out for Habiba and her family to find help. But her collar tells Max she's heading in the direction of a well-established herd. Its leader is an experienced 50-year-old tuskless matriarch. This could be the orphan's last chance to be accepted by another family before the gathering ends.
Zawadi, and there's some other youngsters here, so it will be so nice to see Zawadi interacting with another group. Zawadi's just wandered up to another baby. He got put back in his place a bit of a nudge, but he seems to be almost playing with these other youngsters, which is so lovely to see. If Habiba can associate with an older female, she'll learn so much.
And then something remarkable happens. As the herd heads off, the orphan herd leaves with them. Both families now moving as one.
This is so nice to see because this tuskless female is now leading not only her family but also Habiba. She's right in the middle of the herd with Zawadi, and for some reason our ragtag group are being tolerated. This is what elephant society should be like, and I just hope that some of this knowledge is rubbing off so she can lead this little orphan group wisely in the future. And I suppose it's not just Habiba who's learning here, because when you look in the middle, there's Zawadi sparring with someone a little bit older than him, But this is what it's all about. Every single member is learning from others in the group, and Zawadi now has some sparring partners, and that's so important for a youngster like him, because if he's ever to become a majestic bull like Matt, then he needs to learn the ropes in a family group. And one day he may well grow up to be the size of Matt and be having kids of his own.
Despite everything they've been through, the orphans have finally found the support they so desperately need. As the number of orphan herds increases, scientists are discovering that elephants are finding new ways to adapt. This is how an intelligent, social species is learning to respond to the new challenges it faces. Over the past month, Samburu National Reserve has been the setting for a remarkable gathering. Using the data from the satellite collars, we've been able to see for ourselves how young orphan herds are coping with the loss of their matriarchs. How bull elephants select females to pass on their great legacy. And we've captured incredible new elephant behavior. Whilst we still don't fully understand the complex relationships between these majestic animals, what we have seen reveals an astonishing capacity for emotional intelligence, compassion, and kindness. These elephants are finding ways to help each other and preserve their unique society. It's this that gives hope for bulls like Matt and families like our orphans, so that they might continue this age-old gathering for generations to come. Our Samburu elephants have faced countless challenges, and for the many who have succeeded, the time has come to leave the reserve. They'll now need to use the lessons they learned here to tackle the many threats and obstacles they'll come up against as they disperse across northern Kenya. And if they manage to survive out there, they'll do it all again next year. Next time, we join the largest land mammal migration on the planet. 200,000 caribou brave the western Arctic to reach their calving grounds. Failure to get there could spell disaster.